Okay, so I know I'm like 30 billion years late with this, but today I want to talk to you guys about the newest Dragon Ball animated series. Dragon Ball. New. Who would have thought? First and foremost, I just want to say that I never thought this day would come. I never thought in my 21 years of existence that we would be getting another Dragon Ball animated series, and I'm sure a lot of you guys think the same, because when you look at Dragon Ball as a whole, it pretty much wrapped itself up as a nice two-part series. You have Dragon Ball, and then you have Dragon Ball Z. Of course, to all the manga veterans out there, it is all one story, but for the sake of people who haven't read the manga, which I implore all of you to do, definitely read through it. It's a fantastic series. But even though it contained itself and it ended, there's been a lot of speculation that we would get a new series out there. There have been rumors floating around that with the success of Battle of Gods, that this would get Toei to, request a new series. But all those rumors ended up being complete horseshit. But now, with the release of Fukatsu no F, it seems that, yeah, they finally bit and we're getting a new animated series. So first and foremost, I want to say I'm excited. I'm excited because we're getting a new series, first and foremost. However, that is not going to blind my judgment beyond reasonable means. Because one of the things that me being a Dragon Ball fan that I have really gotten kind of tired of in the past couple of years is the fan base. The Dragon Ball fan base, in my opinion, is one of the biggest detriments to the entire series as a whole. Because when you're looking at a lot of the things that people are talking about, what they want in a new Dragon Ball series, they want new Super Saiyan forms, they want more Saiyans to be introduced, they want, more crazy fights, they want a lot of things that really aren't Dragon Ball, things that are not what the legacy is built and founded upon. I know a lot of people like to say that Dragon Ball is about these big bulky dudes who scream for 30 minutes straight and they fight with a barrage of fists and leg kicks and all this crazy stuff and then finish it off with energy beams. A lot of people think that Dragon Ball is a very formulaic series, but when you actually sit down and read the series, you find out that it's really not. A lot of the characters are deep, a lot of the characters are interesting, and a lot of their motivations are very different. Starting off from Vegeta in the Saiyan Saga, we're going to take it from just Dragon Ball Z here, from Vegeta to the Saiyan Saga, going to Frieza on planet Namek, to the birth of Cell and the revival of Majin Buu. All of these villains have different motivations. They're not just the same cookie cutter things that a lot of the fans like to say they are. So when I hear a lot of people say they're excited about a new series, I think they're excited for all the wrong reasons. They're excited for a lot of the things that they pick apart the series for. A lot of people like to complain about Dragon Ball with its long overdrawn fights. A lot of people like to complain about the fact that after a certain point, certain characters didn't have much use. A lot of the things that I think people have issues with Dragon Ball as a whole are things that started from what? The anime adaptations. Yes, as you guys know, I am a big critic when it comes to the original Dragon Ball Z anime, because I feel that we really missed an opportunity to portray the manga storytelling in a good way. Obviously, for the time that it was, created, there were certain things that they were out of control, so they had to create filler content and material. But when we get a series like Dragon Ball Kai that removes all that filler and just gets you straight to the story with a brand new English dub, with a more accurate script, a lot of the fan base just threw it by the wayside because it wasn't what they remembered. A lot of the things that people have issue with the series comes from the things that never existed in the series. A lot of character motivations that people are seeing come from the filler. The filler has been so detrimental to the series as a whole that I think that is part of the reason why a lot of people set themselves up for disappointment when they see something new and it's not what they expected. Okay? So when a lot of people think that this show is going to be a lot more epic fights, a lot of people think it's going to introduce a lot more Saiyans and Super Saiyan 5, Super Saiyan 6 transformations, I think you guys are building yourselves up to disappointments. Just because all that stuff may seem cool on paper, that is not what Dragon Ball is about at the end of the day. Dragon Ball, yes, is known for its fantastic fights. We all understand that. But it also has a great story behind it. It also balances humor better than most anime series today do. A lot of series either go for just the comedic route, which is perfectly fine. You have an amazing series like Gintama, which I implore a lot of you guys to check out. But then you have a lot of series that just go serious for the sake of serious. They go for that edge effect and they forget why people like watching shonen series in the first place. They want to have that balance. They want to watch a show like Dragon Ball. They want to watch a show like the part 1 of Naruto that had a really good balance of serious and lighthearted moments. So that is what I think a lot of people need to understand going into the series, is that this thing is not going to be what you're expecting if you are a person who has those expectations. Because whenever a new thing comes out for Dragon Ball, what do you hear a lot of people say? They want the same things over and over and over again. They don't want things that are about the series. They want things that they expect from the series. They could care less about the other things. They can care less about the storytelling. They can care less about all the other characters, which is something that I am looking forward to. I hope this new series, you know, does give more of the other characters their time to shine. However, to play devil's advocate as a person who has started from the beginning with the first manga volume, with the first episode of Dragon Ball, you see a lot of those characters in their prime when they had their time to shine, and after a point when they see they can't keep up with Goku and Vegeta and Gohan and Goten and Trunks, all these Saiyans, obviously they're going to be put to the wayside, and that's not a problem from a storytelling perspective. However, there are instances when those characters are given more use, like in the recent Fukatsu no F movie. A lot of the side characters did get some use, and that was awesome to see. So I really do want to see the side characters, even if they're not to the scale of Goku, Vegeta, and Trunks, which, like I said, they're Saiyans. It's a completely, there's a different cap. There's a cap for the humans. There's a cap for the Mechians. There's a cap for all these characters. With the Saiyans, it's just a different ball game entirely. So I do hope if this series is successful, we do get to see that. Now, a couple more facts about the series as a whole. We don't know anything. So first and foremost, a lot of people are speculating that this is going to happen. Oh, we're going to see a lot more of the gods from the Battle of Gods Fukatsu no F movie. No, we aren't, guys. We don't know anything about this series outside of the fact that it is airing this summer in Japan. The goddess Masako Nozawa is returning to reprise Goku, and that Toriyama is heavily involved in the series. That is something that we have not seen for the longest time. Toriyama has been so distant from the franchise from a writing perspective, and it hasn't been until recent years with the new movies that come out that Toriyama has gotten back in control. Fukatsu no F is a movie that he was more heavily involved with, as opposed to Battle of Gods, where he just oversaw it and, you know, created things here and there. So that's one thing I think that Dragon Ball has been missing as a whole. It's been missing the Toriyama vision. It's been missing his personal touch, because when you look at the things like the movies pre-Battle of Gods, a lot of those movies are the same formulaic, the same rinse and repeat, the same things that people have been complaining about for years. But people love them. Why? Why do people love Broly? Why do people love Cooler? Why do people love a lot of these things that are the tropes and the reasons why people complain about Dragon Ball? If you want to find a reason to complain about Dragon Ball, it's all in the old movies. It's all there. I mean, sure, they had some interesting things going on, like in Dead Zone and such, but after that, things just got weird and generic for the sake of, hey, let's try to make this cool. So that's the last thing that I think we need in this series. We don't need more of that. Alrighty? So with Toriyama back in control, they didn't specify like what capacity he is. They did say he's involved with it and he came up with the plot for it, but they didn't say how involved he is as far as that goes. So I'm looking forward to it on that front, because when I watched Battle of Gods and what I've seen from Fukatsu no F, that is classic Toriyama. That is the dude who inspired thousands upon thousands of writers to create series. That is the dude who created a legacy that still continues on from this day. A lot of people wonder, why has Dragon Ball, a series that started back in the 80s, why is that series, out of countless other manga series, how is that still here to this day, 30 years later? How is it that this series is still relevant? Why do we keep going back to it? Why is Funimation able to milk it with all of these series? Why is Toei able to give us, you know, Dragon Ball Kai and all these things? Why are they able to do that? It's because of the legacy behind it. Sure, you can say it's the name, and of course people are going to buy Dragon Ball stuff regardless, but I think there's something internally that a lot of people love about Dragon Ball that they're missing with series nowadays. Dragon Ball just had that balance of humor as well as serious, you know, moments. It knew when to balance funny things that are happening, but at the same time it can go right into that crazy stuff that happens. And that's why I'm really looking forward to Dragon Ball Super, or Dragon Ball Cho as it's pronounced in Japan. I'm really looking forward to that. I do believe that Funimation is going to be simulcasting the show, considering the fact that it's fucking Dragon Ball, man. It's Dragon Ball. Funimation, of all people, is not going to do that. You know, I think Toei has definitely lightened up over their control of Dragon Ball, which is why we're getting Fukatsu no F in a little bit. I think they're going to allow the simulcast. I think they're going to, if it's successful enough, maybe we might get a little dub until they actually release the official version on Blu-ray and DVD. But I'm excited as a Dragon Ball fan, as a person who's loved the series since he was a kid, as a person who understands what Toriyama was going for, as a person who just really thinks that we could have another show that shows shonen what it's all about. You know, shonen that are trying to replicate Dragon Ball. You know, because there are a lot of shonen that do their own thing, and that's awesome. But as you guys have seen in the past, there have been shonen that have been trying to replicate the Dragon Ball success, and none of them really can, because they just don't have what made Dragon Ball great. So I'm looking forward to this series, as I'm sure you guys are as well. And a lot of the things that I think people are complaining about already, they need to look into themselves, and they need to see the things that they hold so high and mighty with Dragon Ball, the movies, the filler, all these tropes and the memes, all that stuff that a lot of people hold so high and they like to criticize. Realize that's not the vision. That is something that was manufactured by Toei. Learn the difference, and I think that we're all going to have a great series come this summer. Unless it sucks. Who knows? If it sucks, I'd be really pissed off, and you will see me as the first person ranting about it. Anyway, I want to thank you guys for watching this video. I'm GS signing out, and like always, I will catch you guys. Actually, you know what? I will catch you guys later. That was really suspect. I'm just going to end it off like that.